Congratulations to Natalia Novitsky. No, they're bored. They want to play. They want to play. I don't know if they want to play now. Usually they sleep. Congratulations to Natalia. She has the 10th approved outline for the paper. Yeah, there are 10 approved outlines so far. That's not bad. Jasmine, are you there? Jasmine Colas?
Yes.
Okay, good. Jasmine, pay attention to what I'm going to say now. My dear and lovely and handsome students, many of you don't know what a reason is, what a reason for something is, right? Again, pay very close attention because this is fundamental, right? You need to know what a reason is, right? A reason is supposed to support. It's supposed to be related to your thesis, right? So suppose that I'm claiming that let's see, Jones murdered Smith. That's my paper. That's my thesis. That's my title, right? I should have capitalized murdered. Sorry. Let's fix it. Suppose my thesis statement is Jones murdered Smith, right? I have to give a reason. Pay attention, Jasmine. If I pick on you, Jasmine, it's because I care. Don't forget that. If I make you feel bad, it's because I care. Suppose that I give as a reason, well, my first reason for the claim that Jones murdered Smith is that crime is up. Is that a good reason for Jones murdered Smith? Anyone? No. Guys, you must watch daytime TV at the very least. I know many of you don't read, but you must at the very least watch daytime TV, the court, those shows with a judge and a prosecutor. Okay, Megan. That's not a good reason. Right? Now, if I say, there's no relationship, right? That's bad. This is doo-doo. It doesn't relate to Jones, right? Now, suppose that I say, look, I don't believe in global warming. I believe there's a global ice age, right? As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, I was born in '72. That was the story back then, that we were going to be in an ice age. An anthropogenic. Anthropogenic means caused by human beings, right? We were told that we were causing an ice age in '76, '77. Right? Now it's global warming. It's different. It's the opposite. But anyway, suppose that I still think that the global ice age, right, is real. Right? So suppose my paper is anthropogenic. Anthropogenic means caused by man, literally, but loosely human beings. Right? Anthropogenic global warming. I'm sorry, anthropogenic ice age. The anthropogenic ice age is happening, baby. Right? Suppose that's my thesis. So what I want to prove is that human beings are causing this coming ice age. And suppose I say, well, it's getting colder. That's my first reason. Does that support that human beings are causing the ice age? No. Maybe it's getting colder because the Earth is farther away from the sun. Who knows? Sometimes the Earth is closer to the sun, so it's warmer. Sometimes the Earth is farther away from the sun, so it's colder, right? We do a lot of bad things. Human beings do a lot of terrible things to the environment. But sometimes climate change isn't because of human beings, right? There were ice ages before. There were countless ice ages before human beings existed, and that was in. Those are examples of climate change, right? The climate's always changing, right? There were ice ages. There were worldwide floods. There were worldwide fires before human beings showed up. That's the way it is. The world is fluid, dynamic. It's in flux. Flux is the fancy academic word for flow, right? So, if I want to claim anthropogenic human cause ice age is real, number one is not a good reason. Because it doesn't even mention human beings. So if some of you, I think Jasmine is writing about global warming, which is fine, it's good. You have a lot of leeway, you have a lot of freedom in this course. You can write about whatever you want. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jasmine is writing about global warming, and she's claiming that human beings caused it. Well, Jasmine, pay attention. If you're claiming human beings are causing global warming, then in every region you have to mention some human activity that is getting the temperature to rise. Does that make sense, Jasmine? It does? Yeah, suppose I say it's not human beings. I say Jasmine Calosa. She's causing global warming. Jasmine Calosa is causing all her fault. Why do you say that, Professor? Well, because it's getting hotter. What the hell does that have to do with Jasmine? Oh, okay. Well, then I saw her doing something that's different. Then, if I have some evidence, Jasmine owns countless factories, infinite number of factories, polluting chimneys. That's different. Okay, now you're mentioning Jasmine, so Jasmine is responsible for global warming. Why? Because Jasmine's factories are right. But if I say Jasmine is causing global warming, and then and you ask me why, and I say because it's hot. The hell is that? So, your reasons have to relate. Each one of your reasons has to relate to and support your thesis statement. Are there any questions? No? Does that make sense, people? Okay, then I'm going to kill you. Suppose I say Christian and Igon and Natalia are destroying the Arctic, the North Pole. They're destroying the North Pole. Well, why do you say this about those students of yours? Why do you say this? Well, because the icebergs are melting. But what does that have to do with your students? So make sure your reasons relate to people with common sense. I think I was born knowing this. All right. Take it easy. Take it easy. It never was, I don't think. But it's okay. It's okay. I love each and every one. Not really, but it's okay. Okay, so we were talking about I'm under siege. We're talking about Socrates, right? Yeah. There we go. I hope you can see those three Greek gentlemen, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. We're talking about Socrates, and we're going to do our third review. We'll do our third review. For the midterm exam, you need to know what the Socratic method is. For the midterm exam, you need to know the Socratic method. What is it? On the whole, and essentially what it is is Gabrielle here? She's always saying she's marked absent or something.
Sorry?
Oh, Gabrielle, there she is. Okay. You were emailing me about your absences, right, Gabriela?
Yes, I did, because you marked me absent on the class. I think it was on the 12th, and I wasn't absent. I was here.
Yeah, first of all, I don't mark anyone absent. Blackboard marks you absent. Second of all, attendance doesn't matter grade-wise. You're not graded on attendance. Read the syllabus.
It shows my grade to be a 75%, so.
Yeah, you're not graded on attendance. What's important is the syllabus. What's unimportant is Blackboard. The only two grades on Blackboard that are going to be accurate are your midterm exam and your final exam. Now, if it says absences, if it says attendance 0% on Blackboard, ignore it.
Okay, but I still wouldn't understand how Blackboard marked me absent when I was there the entire class.
I don't know that either. If you were there the entire class, and Blackboard marked you absent, then that's a problem. Okay, so right, for the okay. Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing then that your attendance isn't part of your grade. Right, you need to know the Socratic method for the midterm exam. Roughly, essentially, the Socratic method is used in a dialogue. Whenever someone is asking someone else, we'll say A is asking B questions. A is simply asking questions of B. B gives answers, and these answers are scrutinized, analyzed by A, the interrogator, until eventually it is shown that there's a problem with the answer. the answer is consequently rejected. A new answer is given. This one now is being considered by A, again, merely by questioning. Once again, it is shown that there's a problem with it. Once again, the answer is rejected. B, the interlocutor gives a third, right, answer to the question that A posed. Once again, A asks questions about the answers until it's revealed that the answer is no good. This goes on forever. Usually the answers get better as the dialogue progresses, usually, not always. And usually the dialogue ends in puzzlement. But what is shown is that B, the person answering, what is usually shown is that B, the person answering, either lacks knowledge or is thinking in a problematic way. And I think I put that up. I think that if you go to the announcements section, I think that the Socratic method is up. As a college student, you need to know what that is. Right. Yeah, you'll also need to know the Euthyphro dialogue in order. We haven't finished the Euthyphro dialogue, but we will. What does Socrates ask Euthyphron? Anyone? What does he ask him? What's this dialogue about? I need sentences. Please. What is pious? Yeah, you forgot the question mark, but it's okay. Actually, it's what is piety, right? You would say what is piety, question mark, or what is the pious, question mark. Right. Mind your grammar also. Mind your grammar. Bear in mind, I'm only asking for 4th grade grammar. Although I know some of you in the chat are rushing because you want to be first to answer. I understand that too. What does what is Euthyphro's first answer to the question, what is piety? What is Euthyphro's first answer?
I think he answered what he's doing right now as far as turning in his father was the first answer.
Perfect. Not good. Perfect. What's wrong with the first answer? Anyone? The definition, the first attempt at a definition. What's wrong with it?
Can you see me, Professor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the question that Socrates asked him initially.
It does have something to do with it, but maybe you can reword that. That's true, Malika, but there's a better way of saying it. You're right, but there's a better way of saying it. What's wrong with Euthyphro's first attempt at a definition of piety?
It implies only turning your father equals pound.
Yeah, whoever that is, you broke up, so. Let's ask Aneria Hampton. Aneria, what is wrong with Euthyphro's first attempt at a definition? Natalia, you're not even answering my question. Aneria Hampton. That's the definition. What is wrong with Euthyphro's? That's fine. What is wrong with Euthyphro's first definition?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay. Antoinese Shaney Mobley. Very good, Natalia. It was just a specific example. Very good. Antoinese Shaney Mobley. What is Euthyphro's second definition of piety? If I don't call on you, don't put it in the chat. I'm asking Antoinese Shaney Mobley.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, what was Euthyphro's second attempt at a definition of piety? Antoinese, I'm disappointed. Let's go on to someone else. Dalia Alish Montreux. Don't disappoint me. What is Euthyphro's second attempt at a definition of piety? Dalia Alicia Montreux. I didn't ask you, Igon. If I don't call on you, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking for it. Yeah, okay. You're right. When you're right, you're right. Then I'm wrong. Yeah, that's right. That's good, Ivan. It's okay. I'm used to it, Dahlia. I'm used to it. What am I doing? Oh, there it is. Let's ask one more student. Yes, Malika.
Was it something regarding the gods? Something about being close to the gods or dear to the gods? Was that around that line? I don't remember.
Oh, I'm asking you. Don't ask me.
Oh, I think I'm almost certain it was something about the gods. I don't remember verbatim, but something like that.
Okay, Igon got it. It's what's dear to the gods or what the gods like, right? Hey, you! Come here. You're gonna get a beating. Interrupting the lecture. Not only are my students disappointing me, you're disappointing. This is Sophia. Huh? I'm gonna beat her. Come here. Say hi to the students for me. They don't study. Hmm? Did you pee all over me? Yeah, the second definition is whatever the gods like is pious, whatever they don't like is pious. Socrates then says, "Thank you, Professor." What for? The second what Socrates then asks, oh, no, it's not, Igon. I'm not visible? Yes, I am. People can see me. I'm visible. I walk down the street, they can see me. Socrates then asks Euthyphro if the gods ever disagree or get into quarrels or fights. Are these disagreements intense? Euthyphro says yes. Well, if these disagreements are intense, then they must be over serious matters. For example, what is, they disagree on what just is, or what piety is, and so on and so forth. And Euthyphro acknowledges this, that the gods do disagree about these important matters pertaining to justice, piety, and so on. Well, says Socrates, if piety or holiness is what the gods like, but the gods disagree, won't the same action be both pious and impious? Euthyphro answers yes. And of course, Socrates then complains that this is not what he asked about. He didn't ask Euthyphro to talk to him about what is both pious and impious. He simply asked what is piety. In the second place, if it is true, as Euthyphro has confirmed, that what is pious is what the gods like, but the gods disagree, then Euthyphro's own action of turning his father in for murder will be just as pious as it is impious. So it'll be neutral. It's not going to have a simple moral value. It's going to have two moral values that cancel each other out. So then why turn his father in for murder, right? What is the third definition that Euthyphro gives to Socrates? Let me ask. Don't blurt out the answer. Let me ask someone I haven't heard from. Let's ask Vergara, Gianni N. Vergara. What is Euthyphro's third attempt at a definition of piety? Gianni Vergara, are you here? Okay, can you answer my question, please? Notice that I'm not asking anyone to think. I'm just asking you to remember. Pretty easy, huh? Gianni Vergara, I'm waiting for my answer. Gabriela, did I call on you?
We're helping each other, Professor.
I don't want you helping her. Since when are we supposed to help other people? Forget about it. I'm asking. Yeah, but anyways, I'm asking Gianni and Vergara what all the gods love is pious, and what they don't like is it. Gianni, see, she didn't need your help. Good. Let's read Gianni's message. Perfect. Vergara hit the nail on the head. At this point, thank you, Gianni. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If it's Jan, let me know. If I butcher your name, I feel bad. And don't forget, don't help each other. Anyways, just kidding. Anyways, right. So at this point, Socrates asks Euthyphro the question that has become famous. Euthyphro, is the pious because the gods like it, because all of the gods like it, or do all of the gods like because it is pious to begin with? And eventually, Euthyphro answers that all of the gods like something because it is pious to begin with, and we call that Euthyphro's objectivist moral philosophy. And as we did last time, we inserted into his objectivist moral philosophy his own, Euthyphro's own definition of pious, namely, what is pious is what all of the gods like. And when we get what we get when we insert Euthyphro's definition of the pious or piety into Euthyphro's objectivist moral philosophy is this: all of the gods like something because all of the gods like something, or all of the gods like it because all of the gods like it. Clearly, Euthyphro is guilty of circular reasoning, right? It's okay, Meg. And I think that's where we left off. That's where we left off. So you do need to know those first three definitions and the problem or problems. Sometimes there's only one problem. Sometimes there are more problems with each definition. Okay, good. So the dialogue continues. Now, at this point, Euthyphro has given three definitions, and none of them work, right? And at this point, Socrates feels sorry for Euthyphro. He wants to help Euthyphro. However, he cannot do it by saying that he knows how to proceed, because let us not forget that Socrates claims that he himself, Socrates, is ignorant. However, he can help Euthyphro by saying, I believe this is the correct way to proceed. I believe this is what we should do. I believe this, or I've heard. Right. So Socrates, feeling sorry for Euthyphro, is going to try to help him. He's going to try to help him. But again, he cannot help him while claiming to have any knowledge. And Socrates, at this point in the dialogue, having seen that Euthyphro's three definitions fail, asks Euthyphro, what's the matter, baby? Are you not compelled to believe that are you not compelled to believe pious is, I'm going to use Greek here I'm not going to do this ever again, but in this particular case it's very important. Actually, not yet, wait. The word is decay. There's a reason why I put the Greek there. Sometimes it's actually important. Euthyphro, Socrates asks, right, are you not compelled to believe that the pious or piety is a form of decay? What the hell is decay? Well, unfortunately, my dear students, when you read these translations in English, decay is translated as justice. Right? What's the matter, darling? Huh? Where are you? Oh, they want food. I gotta feed them soon. Yeah, that's how most English translators translate DK, justice. It's a mistake. DK does mean justice in ancient Greek, in ancient Attic Greek. However, it also means sometimes virtue and integrity, and that's the correct word, I think. You know, when you read these old books like the Bible, people disagree about how to translate a particular term. It happens all the time. Um, so usually you'll see the word justice here. I think it's a mistake. I don't know if most of them are mistranslated. Perhaps most of them have their mistranslations, you know, here and there. But to say they're mistranslated is saying that they're that the problem is much worse than it actually is, right? So I would say that the question is, Euthyphro, are you compelled to believe that the pious is a form of virtue? Right. In other words, isn't piety a kind of virtue? Isn't holiness a kind of virtue? And Euthyphro answers yes. Okay, now what is Socrates doing here? This is where you have to learn how to read between the lines. Socrates, by asking this question in his very innocent, I don't know anything manner, is trying to teach Euthyphro how to define. He's trying to teach Euthyphro how to define. When you define something, the first thing you need to refer to is the kind of thing it is. For example, an elephant is a mammal. A car is a vehicle. A salamander, I don't know what that is. A snake is a reptile. So what Socrates is intimating here to Euthyphro is, shouldn't you first tell me what kind of thing, what category? That's what I was wondering. Yeah, thank you. I thought they were reptiles. I was wrong. Okay. Shouldn't you first tell me what kind of thing it is? What class? So by asking Euthyphro this, Socrates is suggesting that one first give the proximate genus when defining something. Right? When you define something, first you have to give the proximate genus. What the hell is a genus? Genus just means class or kind. And proximate means nearmost. So this just means nearmost kind. "20 minutes, darling, and I'll feed you." Even though you're overweight. The veterinarian says that she's fat. That's what you said. You're feeding her too much. Yeah, so proximate genus means nearmost kind. Why nearmost? Because you don't want the kind to be too general. It'll be confusing. Suppose I say, what is a human being? Or I ask, what is a human being? And I answer, a human being is a mammal. That's okay. But if I say animal, it's true. Human beings are animals, but it's better to say mammal, right? Because if I say animal, you might think, what is a human being? A snake? It could be a snake because after all, snakes are animals too. Scorpions, right? Birds. It's vague. Thank you, Denise. It's vague. It's true, but vague, right? So you don't want to go too far up that upside down tree divided that contains genera divided into species, right? You don't want to go too far up. If you say, what is a vehicle? If you ask me, what is a car? I'll say, it's a vehicle. That's good. It does fall under that kind. It does fall under that genus. Car does fall under the category of vehicle. That's true. I could have said it's a thing. That's true. It is a thing. But that's not the proximate genus. That's not the nearmost genus. Suppose someone asks me, what is a tree? And I say, a tree is a thing in the world. Yeah, but it's not informative. If someone says, what is a tree? I say it's a plant. That's better. Plant is a better category. Right? So suppose you have, for example, let's see, yeah, you have car, and car falls under the category of vehicle, or the genus vehicle, and vehicle falls under the category artifact. You could say a car is an artifact. You could say a car is a machine, but it's better to refer to the proximate category, the nearmost category. Does that make any sense to anyone?
Yes.
Yeah?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Gabriela says yes. Denise. Rios, is it Igon or Egon? How do you say your name? Egon? I have no idea.
I've heard it all. Egon is fine. Igon, whichever.
What do you like though?
Egon is fine.
Egon is fine. Okay. So, yeah, that's what Socrates is intimating here, right? Oops. It's not nice when people mispronounce your name. I don't like that. So all of these things fall under vehicle, right? Wait, let's go like this. And vehicles, with the exception of like horses that can be used as vehicles, these are just examples. They're not perfect, okay? But if you can say vehicles fall under machine, right? So, car falls under vehicle. Motorcycle falls under vehicle. Hovercraft falls under, and these things fall under machine. You could say a hovercraft's a machine. I hope you can see the whiteboard. I hope you can see the whiteboard. But it's better to say a hovercraft is a vehicle. It's more informative. And as Denise said, machine is too vague, right? So this is the nearmost category. Come here, darling. The students want to see you. I'll feed you in 15 minutes, I promise. So yeah, when you define anything, go to the nearmost category, go to the proximate genus, and then, says Socrates to Euthyphro, you give the specific difference. What the hell is the specific difference? The specific difference, or the differentiate, is what distinguishes the thing defined from the other things that also fall under that proximate genus. So for example, a car is a, first refer to the proximate genus. A car is a vehicle that has 4 wheels and is terrestrial. That distinguishes it from motorcycle and hovercraft. A motorcycle is a vehicle, proximate genus.
Okay.
That is terrestrial but has 2 wheels. A hovercraft is a vehicle, proximate genus. That, the specific difference, is amphibious and rides along a bag full of air or something like that. A human being is an animal. I'm sorry. A human being is a mammal that is rational. An elephant is a mammal, also proximate genus, that is immense, has a tusk and a trunk and what have you. So first you refer to the proximate genus, and then you make the distinction clear. And that is what Socrates is telling Euthyphro. When you define, first refer to the proximate genus. Then give the specific difference.
2 veces a la semana. Oh my gosh. Pero es intensa entonces esa clase. Demasiadas horas.
Differentiate.
¿Y cuándo tienes el examen?
El midterm es el 27, creo.
What is a cat? A cat is a mammal
De mayo.
that meows and contemplates me with disdain. What is a dog? A dog is a mammal that, the difference, barks.
Las clases
Doesn't meow, barks.
Este mismo mes ya.
And it's furry and friendly and
Vamos
what
a
have
tomar el midterm.
¿Y cuándo tienes el midterm?
you. Is this clear?
Yes.
Now, a lot of you might be saying, oh, you're paying attention, wow. A lot of you might be thinking, of course it's clear, Professor. We've seen a dictionary before, right? We know how to define. It is obvious. This is obvious, Professor. It's not obvious. It doesn't come from the trees, okay? This came from Socrates. The reason why you know it is because of this, right? The reason why you're thinking, duh, we all know this. The reason why you're thinking that is because Socrates told Euthyphro to define in this way. When Socrates told Euthyphro to define in this way, he in effect told the West how to define. And that's how we have been doing it ever since. So these are very important books. Not just it's not because it's just about piety. It's about much more, right? This is where we get our fundamental core ideas of the Greco-Roman culture. We have been doing it. We have been defining things in this way ever since. The ideas that the Greeks had weren't just the first ideas.
Mi final
They're
es el
still with
16 de
us.
junio para esta clase.
We're still thinking, well, for now, the West will disappear soon, but what's left of the West is still under the influence of Greek thought, Greek organization. You just don't know it. A lot of you have heard of the word essence. We say the word essence a lot. Essence this, essence that. Essence is a word that was invented by the medieval philosophers in order to make Aristotle clear.
Criminology.
They're fundamental concepts that you have, fundamental ways of doing things that can be traced back to the Greeks. This is an example. We learn how to define from this dialogue in ancient Greece between Socrates and Euthyphro. Notice also that if someone tells you to do this, if Socrates tells you, hey, you should define in this way, notice that we are satisfied. We don't ask him why.
La mitad de estas empiezan las.
Why should I define it this way? It's so obviously correct that we're just silent. Okay, fine. That's, how else can you define? So it's perfect, right? On the face of it, it's perfect. We don't ask why. Why should I first refer to the class? Why should I then give the specific? How else are you going to do it? Socrates teaches this to Euthyphro. Plato is going to use it in his books, in 2 books, in the Theaetetus and in the Statesman. Books which are works in the theory of knowledge. And then Aristotle is going to organize the animal kingdom, right? In this way, right? And in so doing, he's going to become the founder, among other things. It's okay, Alexa, try to take care of that though. As Aristotle applies this method to science, in particular to animals, and also in botany, in the case of the animals, he becomes the founder of zoology. And to this day, you've seen this. You've seen the upside down tree. You've seen the upside down tree in science. You know, genus, species. That's where this comes from. Okay, so Euthyphro has been given some methodological advice. And I'll ask you about this on the midterm exam. What is this? What is the proximate genus? What is the specific difference? Blah blah. So Euthyphro now has some methodological advice. Let us return to piety. Oops. There we go. So Euthyphro says, okay, great. Now I know how to proceed. When I define piety, I will first refer to the proximate genus. I think we agreed that it's a virtue, right? And then I'll give the specific difference. So Euthyphro says, okay, fine. I will say that it's a virtue, and then I will give the specific difference. What distinguishes it from the other virtues, for example, courage and patience, so on and so forth. So Socrates is waiting. Okay, great. So what's your 4th definition? And
No lo veo.
And Euthyphro says this. Piety is providing a service to the gods. Notice that there's no mention of a proximate genus. There's no mention of virtue. It appears that Socrates' advice went into one of Euthyphro's ears and out the other. Socrates then asks him, okay, what kind of service? And Euthyphro responds, well, sacrifices, rites, rituals, right? Okay. So those are the services that we provide to the gods when we are pious. Sacrifices. Yeah, we could spill wine on the altar of Athena or something. Rituals. Okay, says Socrates. And why do we do this? Why do we perform these sacrifices, these rituals for the gods? And Euthyphro answers, because they like it. And Socrates says, do you mean to tell me that we're back to piety is what the gods like? Is that what you're telling me, Euthyphro? Are we back to, after all we've been through, are we back to piety is what the gods like? Wasn't that your second definition? Euthyphro is getting nowhere. And the dialogue is longer. There are perhaps 7 attempts at a definition, but I'll leave it at 4. Eventually, he doesn't provide Socrates, of course, with a satisfactory answer. Euthyphro says, Socrates, I tried, but I must go now. I have things to do. We don't know whether or not he prosecutes his father for murder, whether or not he goes into the courthouse to turn him in. We don't know that. Perhaps he did. We just don't know. It's 2,600 years ago. But he does tell Socrates, I cannot answer this question. I must go now. And Socrates says, no, I need to know what piety is. And I quote, Socrates says to Euthyphro, after his 7 definitions fail, Socrates says to Euthyphro, Euthyphro, we must begin again, from the beginning, to examine what the pious is. This is important. We're talking about holiness here. I don't care if you failed 7 times. As far as I am concerned, I will not give up until I understand it, says Socrates. Do not scorn me. I'm quoting him. Do not scorn me, but applying your mind in every way. Tell me the truth now more than ever, because you know it, Euthyphro, if anybody does. Because unless you knew clearly about the pious and impious, there is no way you would ever have tried to pursue your aging father unless you knew for sure. You would never have pursued him for murder on behalf of a hired laborer. But instead, you would have been afraid before the gods and ashamed before men to run the risk of conducting this matter improperly. Socrates is saying, look, you must know what it is. After all, you're turning in your father for murder. Surely you must know what piety is, because if you weren't sure, you wouldn't be doing such a thing, right? But as it is, says Socrates, I am sure that you think that you have clear knowledge of the pious and impious. So tell me, great Euthyphro, tell me, great sarcasm, right? Tell me, great Euthyphro, and do not conceal what it is. Tell me what piety is. And Euthyphro says, some other time, man, because I'm in a hurry to get somewhere and it's time for me to go. And Socrates exclaims for all to hear out in the streets of Athens, "What a thing to do, my friend! By leaving, you have cast me down from a great hope I had, that I would learn from you what is pious and what is not. And now would free myself from the prosecutor's charge by showing him that thanks to Euthyphro, I had already become wise in religious matters, and that I would no longer speak carelessly and innovate about these things due to ignorance, and in particular, that I would live better for the rest of my life." That's the end of the dialogue. Evidently, no satisfactory is given. The expert in holy matters has been exposed as a fraud. The pious man does not know what piety is. The dialogue ends in aporia, puzzlement, and the ignorance of the interlocutor, in this case Euthyphro, comes to light. Let's take a break. I will see you in 15 minutes. Not 20, 15.